Welcome back, everyone. My name's Brandon, and today I figured I'd move on from the Atari 2600 and talk about some computers. I would like to talk about some of the Tandy line of computers that I've come to collect and own over the past few years. Starting right here, this is the TRS-80 Model 100 portable computer. Otherwise, everyone just refers to it as a Model 100. I acquired this one not too long ago. It was around the time that I had surgery. And honestly, I was high out of my mind with my phone on eBay, which was not a good idea. But I got a couple of old computers out of that. But this was one of them. I probably wouldn't have bought this particular model, to be honest, because if you look at mine, I am missing two keys. In fact, one of these is broken, and you can actually see the keycap stem. The stem itself on the key is actually broken, and this just sits here. However, it does work, it does power on. The TRS-80 Model 100, released in 1983, it was the first successful notebook computer. It typically shipped with 8 to 32K of memory. I haven't even inspected this one to see how much I have. It has a 8x40 display, so you have 8 lines, 40 columns. And then it was originally manufactured by Kyocera as the Keytronic 85. There is a few games for this that can be loaded by the cassette port, which is right here. It's the same port that you will find on any other Tandy computer. However, mine I think is broken. It does not seem to want to load anything. It starts, and no matter how I adjust the volume, I just can't get it to read any kind of cassettes. I think there might be an issue inside. One of these days, I'm going to take this apart and see about refurbishing it. But this one does work, so let me take a little cut here and get some batteries in this to show you guys. Alright, I got some batteries in this. This is actually powered by 4 AA batteries that sit right underneath these, this door right here. As you can see, I got 4 batteries here. And let me flip it back over and accidentally knock everything over in the process here. Alright. There we go. So the power switch is on the side, as well as the contrast knob and the DC power jack. I believe this uses a center negative plug, I believe. I haven't been able to find one to use for it yet, but let's go ahead and turn it on. And let's see here. I can get a little bit of visual here for you. Let me adjust this and take a look in the camera. Yeah. But okay, there we go. So your arrow keys right here. So let's go ahead and navigate to basic. And there we go. So 12,998 bytes free of Microsoft Basic. And if I recall, I read somewhere that this was actually one of the last projects that Bill Gates worked on. Let's go ahead and do a simple basic command. So let's, I'm in character mode. So let's take a look right here. Let's do a pretty basic command here. I'll just do what everyone does. So let's print hello. So, alright, there we go. Prints hello. So let's try some math here, some arithmetic. Print 4 plus 4. Enter, and 8. So that seems to be working. Now, one thing I have found out, I believe I can just type beep and make it beep, because there is a speaker in this. There we go, yeah. And if I really wanted to annoy my wife, let's see, let's run. And I can just make it beep and piss off my wife. That's about really all I have to show for this as of right now. I was hoping that I could show, I believe there's a game called Starblaze, but every single time that I attempt to load or even save anything from this using the cassette, it just errors out on me no matter how I adjust the volume. So I'm assuming that maybe I have some leakage going on with the capacitors inside. So maybe in the future this will be a project for me to work on to get working, and I would actually like this to be 100% working in the future. I don't like to just have systems sitting around. Now this next system I have complete in the box, and this is my TRS-80 microcolor computer model MC10. This released in 1983 as well, and it was actually intended to compete with the Timex Sinclair 1000 and the Commodore VIC-20. The Timex Sinclair 1000 I don't think is any kind of competition to this. It's essentially the US version of the ZX81, or if you're European, ZX81, but I'm American, I'm going to say ZX. It was discontinued shortly after the release in 1984. It shipped with 4 kilobytes of onboard memory. There was a 16 kilobyte RAM expansion for this. The output out of this is generally as RF only. France did have a version of this called the Matra Alice, and it was more successful than the US variant from what I've heard. I haven't really officially looked out there at any kind of sales number or anything to actually prove or disprove that. That's just simply what I've heard. Now let's go ahead and do a unboxing here and take a look at what's in the box. So this box is a little bit old, but pretty good shape. So let me go ahead and open it up. And here, right here, is the computer. Mine's a little bit rough. You got some marks and scuffs on it, some burn, and we could take a look. It's pretty small with a chiclet style key. Let me grab a Timex Sinclair and we can compare it to that. Alright, so I grabbed my Timex Sinclair, and here's my Timex Sinclair 1000 with all the regular keys in all its glory. And compared to its size, so I mean it's slightly larger and meant to compete with this. I believe this was still cheaper in the long run. I have a sales receipt in the box I have for this one. But I actually really like this computer. Let's take a look at around here, and I believe there's a channel select right here. You can choose between channel 3 and 4, and then you have your power switch. On the back, you have your AC adapter. This is your expansion port for your memory module, a serial port, and a cassette port, which again is a standard TRS-80 cassette cable that can be used. You got your reset button, and you got your RF out. So if I continue through the box, I have my power supply, my Radio Shack power supply. And then right here is my cassette cable, which we're going to use this in a little bit here to actually play some games on it with my cassette recorder I have. So let me place this to the side. And then down here I actually have, that came with this unit, a memory expansion for the 16K of memory. So, and then we'll take a look in the box. I got the startup instructions, a quick start essentially. And then we got the operation and reference manual with all kinds of things about explaining the features, how to use it, using some of the functions on it, some of the core mechanics of programming it. And then let's see, I haven't even looked at some of this other stuff in here. So here you got some 10 starter programs for your family computer. And then I believe, yeah, I got, this looks like a magazine of some sort actually. Yeah, TRS-80 microcomputer news. And there's the TRS-80 Model 100. Very interesting computer. I'm probably going to go looking through these later. I might make a video on these old magazines and stuff. I've never looked at these. I was more interested in playing the computer when I got it. And then I just put everything back. And this right here is a TRS-80 Model 2, I believe. Which is incompatible with the Model 1. The Model 1, the Model 3, 4, 4P all share similar design and somewhat overlap of interchangeability between software. I believe this is a hard disk drive. I've seen one of these before, I believe. It was really expensive. Let's take a look at this other magazine here. And we got a TRS-80, I think that is a Model 3. I would love to have one of these, but I think I would only have room for a Model 1, to be honest. But I think they're very interesting. There's a little Z80 processor in those, and you got the disk drive as well as the printer over here. Very interesting style. But that's way before my time. And what do I have in here? It looks like some spare screws of some kind. Maybe, I believe this is the door that goes on the back to cover the expansion port. And yeah, here's the how to install the memory pack. So yeah, I was right. This is the screws and the part from the back. And this looks like a receipt of some kind. So this is very interesting. I love seeing things like this when you buy them. So, oh, Mr. G. Keith of, I think, I can't read the Alabama, I think that says. So you got the MC10, he got a cable, and the module. He paid $135.85 for this. Now, what year was that? Yeah, I was right. Alabama, Gadsden, Alabama. That the Gadsden Mall. I might want to see if that is actually still around. I have family out in Alabama. That's where my mother is from. You got the sales tax. So that's interesting. But that's about all I have in the box here. So let's go ahead and put this back, and we're going to go ahead and get everything connected to my RF demodulator so I can actually showcase some of the games here and get some actual capture from the device itself on my capture card. Alright, so I got everything hooked up here. So all we have to do now is just load a program in the cassette here. And let's go ahead and get this playing. And then all I have to do, type in is load for a basic game, or load M for a game that is in machine code, and either do run or exec to launch it. So let's go ahead and take a look at just a couple of random games here. None of these are official. These are some that have been made by people over time. I can't remember his name who made them. He sent me the link, and I'm really grateful that he sent me them. I'll see if I can find that message. It goes back a few months ago, and if I can, I'll put his link down in the description. But here we go. Okay, let's run the first game. This is called 4K Invaders, so I assume it doesn't need my RAM expansion here, but we're going to run it anyways. Nicholas Marentes made this. So as you can look right here, we have the arrow keys, and I assume we're going to be using these and possibly the space bar. So let's hit enter, and let's see if I'm correct. Yes, I am correct. And it is just a simple Invaders clone. Let's see how well I can do. But this is a nifty little computer. Not bad for 4K. There's some other systems I like out there that have about 4K. I'll probably get to one of those in the future, actually. It was made by Mattel. That's the only hint I'm going to give. I like to shoot through my barriers. Get rid of these guys on the end here so I can have some more space. There we go. Oop, don't get me. See, yep, there we go. Oh, it looks like I can just hold it down. Yeah, there we go. Very rudimentary, I guess. No sound whatsoever in this one so far. Maybe if I die, I'll try that, but I'm not one to just die. And we won our first level. So let's see what happens if I just let it go. Yeah, game over. So that was the only sound you get is when you die. So let's go ahead and take a look at our third and final game here. I'm going to see if I can find something interesting. Okay, so I think I found my last game here that I want to showcase, and it's Scramble 4K. So I'm hoping this is a side-scrolling shooter, because that's the only game I know of that's called Scramble like that. So let's do C-load, and we're going to hit play on the tape. Alright, so it's ready. So hit stop on the tape. And since this is machine code, I believe it's exec. So there we go. So fly your aircraft over the mountainous terrain, shooting at anti-aircraft emplacements that will shoot back at you unless you destroy them with your guns. Spacebar. Use guns or bombs, the B button, to attack the fuel emplacements. Q of the enemy. Alright, so the enemy might be Q. You must attack enough fuel emplacements or you will be recalled from your mission. Navigate the onslaught and you will be assigned new missions. A is up, Z is down, so A, Z, B, and space, it looks like was what I need to know. So level of play, let's hit 1. I'm new. So get ready, and I am ready as it does its countdown. Alright, 10 more. There we go. And alright. Oop, I'm gonna get shot down. So this one has a lot more sound. And I'm dead. That's it. Play again. I don't think I will. So, alright. That's about all I have to show you for this one. So, well, everyone, thank you for watching today, and I hope you enjoyed these couple of computers that I brought out. They're very interesting, and I'll be back with a part 2 or possibly even a part 3 in the future. And you see some of my more Tandy computers that I've collected a little bit over the few years that I've been collecting retro computers. And I hope you all have a nice day.